Welcome to Anecdotally Speaking, a podcast that helps you build your business story repertoire. So, it's a special episode this time around. We have our 50th episode, and with me, I have four great colleagues. Of course, Mark and I have been doing this from day dot, episode number one. You remember that one?
18 January 2019.
Yep.
Visitor from Mars. The story about Victoria Mars.
That's it. We've also got with us Mike Adams, and he's been on the podcast. You've heard him tell a story that you can share. So welcome, Mike.
Thanks very much, Shawn. Thanks for allowing me on the podcast.
Oh, allowing you. You're more than welcome. Paul Chilchick is also with us, also been on the podcast. He runs our Sydney office.
Good to see everyone. And I want to make one correction. Was it 2019 your first podcast or 2019? 19.
Oh, right, okay.
What did I say? Did I say 18?
And of course, we have our chairman from the UK here, Paul Honeywell. Welcome, Paul.
Pleased to be back in Melbourne, especially when it's winter in England.
Absolutely. So we thought in this episode it would be great to talk about some of the really interesting things that have happened in recent weeks, actually. Here
Well, we think they're interesting. So.
Yeah, we think they're interesting. And have a bit of a conversation around that, but also talk about a story that Paul's going to share with us. That sort of came out of our conference that we had last week, but maybe we should just kick that off. We had our global partner conference last week, and it was had people from all around the world who joined us. And I guess I'd love to hear from you guys as to what were some of the things that really stood out for you in terms of the conference and what we did. How about Mike? You kick off.
Yeah, thanks, Shawn. Well, it wasn't just a partner conference because we had our first workshop for story-powered sales, which has been my baby with Anecdote since August this year. And we had a tremendous audience for that. We had some thought leader gurus from the Australian business scene.
Yeah.
We had representatives from some of the world's largest companies and our international partners, and it was great to see how they accepted the new course. I thought that was very exciting for me.
Yeah.
And then getting to meet those partners again through the conference.
Yeah, it was awesome. I got to go along to that. I think, Mike, did you sit on that one or not? That was...
Oh yeah, so that was a fantastic day, very full room. One of the things that struck me was just the venue. We were in Sydney, and we were in the HC Coombs Centre, and Shawn might share his story about his relationship with Nugget Coombs, after which that building is named. But the Coombs Centre is in a suburb called Kirribilli, and we look out the windows of the room we're in, straight across the harbour at the Opera House, and slightly to the right. If you just move your head slightly right, there's the bridge. And so it was a fantastic venue for a really important launch event of Story Powered Sales, which I think that was last Thursday.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. It's gone so fast. Mr. Chilchick, what did you take out of it? What was it like for you being part of all that?
Well, it was great to see everyone from around the world, and also to see how relevant storytelling is in every corner of the world, because we had all different perspectives and anecdotes, so to speak, from all the different partners. One thing, Sydney being my hometown, I've been on the harbour hundreds of times, and we were going around on the boat. We did a harbour cruise, and suddenly the skipper started telling a few stories about this building site and this indigenous area, what it meant, and the city started to come alive in a way I hadn't quite recognised for a while. So it was just another reminder of that the story can amp up even something I've seen 100 times.
Even better after a few beers, right?
That helped as well.
Yeah. And Paul, you came such a long way to sort of see this event. Anything that really jumped out for you in terms of that?
Yeah, absolutely, Shawn. I mean, the first thing that strikes me is the word pride. I came a long way, absolutely, but I came into a conference of passionate people from all kinds of different backgrounds, different cultures, different markets, and also very proud of the work that you guys have been doing here in terms of product development. I think the three products that we have look absolutely excellent. I'm proud to be associated with them. And I think anyone that takes a look at these, and not only the visual look and the quality feel of them, but the content itself meets that expectation as well. So I just have to be very proud to be chairman of this company, and I think it is really terrific to be there.
Great.
And I guess another pride thing is so we talked about story powered sales and that launch, but of course it was also the launch event for story powered strategy, and you had a major role in the architecture of that, Paul, as a number of us did, and I think it's important that we acknowledge the work that everybody has done in bringing these products to life, and the partner conference, because such a huge event culminating probably 8 months of work. It was kind of a pretty cool thing, and a lot of people put in a lot of work to make that happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, we did have a bit of a milestone too for one of our partners.
So that's...
Tell us what happened there, Mark.
So
you were right there.
One of our very first partners back in early 2013, Indranil Chakraborty. He lives in Mumbai in India, and he's one of our earliest partners. And in the early days, he made use of our availability. In fact, one of the things he commented on was that he kind of had Shawn and me to himself. That we didn't have many partners. And it was a struggle early on to try and sell premium products like storytelling for leaders and story-powered sales in India. But I see he's not the sort of guy who gives up. And about 18 months after he started, he sent a list of hundreds of C-suite people that he visited to pitch the products to. Very soon thereafter, his sales, his sales and delivery increased. So on Sunday, we presented him with a very nice bottle of Australian wine in recognition of his 100th Storytelling for Leaders program. So he's delivered that program 100 times. It's an amazing milestone.
It is. It's tremendous. Well, I mean, now we've been spending a couple of days, working out our way forward. It's amazing, the excitement in terms of what we can do. But we were talking before, like what stories stood out for us out of that partner conference, and one of them, and of course you've got to remember this podcast is all about sharing a story with you, the listener, that you can retell in some way, in some version, and for us to have a bit of a conversation around it. So we're going to do it with 5 of us. Paul Honeywell shared a story at the conference, which I think would be a good one for everyone to hear, and we'll throw in our comments. So I might just throw it over to you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Shawn. So I was spending a lot of time in Las Vegas. It's a place that I got to know very well. I was doing a big program with Steve Wynn and his hotel resorts, and had a lot of success with the use of storytelling to really empower and enthuse and inspire the 15,000 employees to really deliver a guest experience that is beyond anywhere else in that area, and indeed in the world, I think. So partway through this, I was back in London, and I got a call out of the blue, and the guy on the other end of the phone introduced himself as Russell Goldsmith, and I'd never heard of Russell. Clearly an American, on the phone saying, I've heard about you. I've heard about you from Steve Wynn. I happen to be on his board, and he's been talking about the power of storytelling and the difference that it's making in his business. And he said, look, I'm the chief executive of City National Bank. We're a large regional bank based in California. And I would love to know more about what you're doing, because I think this is the kind of thing that we could really benefit from. So he said to me, could you send me some information? And my immediate reaction was, hang on a second, this is a real opportunity. So I said, Russell, did you say that you're based in Los Angeles? He said, yeah, Beverly Hills to be precise. I said, it's really a coincidence, but I'm actually travelling to Los Angeles next week, and I wondered if you might have some time and we could meet face to face. And he said, wow, that's terrific. He said, how about Wednesday afternoon? I said, yeah, sure, name your time, 2:30, I'll be there. Of course, I wasn't actually planning to be in Los Angeles at all, but I could see an opportunity with a large organisation. I just couldn't possibly give up that opportunity. So, or risk it by sending some information across and eventually leading to, another conversation, so on. So I went out. I got on a plane and I went to Los Angeles. And I met with Russell, and Russell became a very important client of our business. And even more importantly, we made a really big impact at City National Bank. And I received a Christmas card from him that year saying, Paul, thank you so much for everything that you've done. This really is making a difference to us.
Fantastic. Well, what do you reckon, guys? One of the things, what stands out for you? What makes that a good story? Mike, I can tell you've got a thought there.
Yeah, well, I have a thought. I teach, I work with sales teams, and one of the things I'm very careful about is coaching salespeople to find and tell true stories. And the interesting thing about your story is it was only true at the instant that you decided it was going to be true.
That's correct.
And you were going to go. So it's a true story, but I really would counsel against making up stories, and that's a really deep well that you can get yourself into. So I love the story. I think it's fantastic, and such a lesson for people to be proactive and grab something when they see there's an opportunity. Because it doesn't necessarily hang around long.
Indeed.
I'm now reminded of the Steve Winwood album from the late 70s, After the Diver, and his song, When You See a Chance, Take It. And that was certainly an example of doing that.
Yeah. There's lots of great detail in that story, right? So
yes.
We hear names, we hear locations, all that detail just adds to credibility because these are senior people. They obviously have sort of a network of connections, and you are clearly part of that in some way, right? So that just comes out as an inference to the story.
Yeah, we can infer quite a bit about Paul's character from that story, for sure.
Where Richie?
Yeah, I think the surprise element, the listeners being taken down a certain path and everything seems normal, and then there's a little bit of that flip I actually wasn't planning to go.
Yeah.
And that really makes it memorable and retellable. And also how you finished off there with the impact that it had. Sometimes our stories just tend to fade out, and you got the surprise, great, but no, it actually, you got the Christmas letter. And that kind of reinforces it was worth taking.
It's a very visual thing, the Christmas card, isn't it? You sort of immediately, I was imagining the scrawl of writing. Those sort of guys tend to be quite scrawly. I don't know, this is how I imagine it, right? So you get this good, strong image.
So one of the strengths of that story is the surprise, the bit where I wasn't actually planning to be in Las Vegas next week, or in Los Angeles next week, and I don't know whether you noticed, but pretty much all of us, even though we've heard it before, laughed.
Right.
And I also remember the impact that Paul had when he told that story to the partners, and how people were referring back to that example that he'd given numerous times during the workshop. So for me, one of the highlights of that short story, high impact, retellable, people talking about it going, wow, that's had an impact on me in terms of how they think about how they run their businesses.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay, what about the flip side? What could we suggest to make that story even better? Right? Which is always sometimes the more difficult thing to do.
Well, I think in terms of duration, I always look at duration as one of the determinants of a good story or not, and it was right on the money for duration. So it's not, I'm not going to say, I haven't got something that can do even better, but just to highlight that duration was rather spot on.
Yep.
60 seconds, 60 to 75 seconds.
Yeah, right. The only thing I would say is that at that point of revealing the surprise, this is really small stuff, right? But this is it's almost like there's a pause to be had there.
Yes, of course,
right?
yes.
Whereas, because you want to have the people sort of hanging a little bit on what happened.
Yeah.
And this is a small thing, but it's almost like, he said, I sort of set the time, 2:30, I'd pause and go, and then I bought my ticket.
Yes.
So really
power of silence.
Make it really clear. You didn't have a ticket booked before that, right? It was something that you wanted to get done. But no, that was terrific. Well, great work, guys. I think that's probably what. We traditionally would give a rating for our stories. You want to talk more about it?
Well, I think that story deserves a short conversation about how you might use it.
Nice work. Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about how you might use it.
And I'm just for our listeners' benefit, when we were talking about the content of this episode, Shawn, we talked what was a real highlight, something we took away. Shawn immediately went to Paul's story, and then he said, "But it's not really a story that people could use." And anyway, we had a very brief conversation, and numerous applications dropped out of it. And I just highlight that because it's really, sometimes we might be very quick to sort of push a story to the side without really examining its potential.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing. I have this philosophy, which is have strong opinions weakly held. And I changed my mind very quickly.
Very quickly. Yeah, it's not like it was an argument.
Yeah, okay. Let's have a chat about when do you find yourself telling that story?
I don't tell it that often, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing I would say about it is that, I remember back to the time that it really happened, and I had to make an absolutely instant decision. I was on the telephone. I had to make a decision right there. And I knew that I had things in my diary. I knew that I had commitments at home. I knew that going to Los Angeles from London was not a cheap thing to do. But I knew in that moment, something triggered right there that this was something that really could not wait and had to take precedence over everything else. And in a nanosecond, I had to make that decision. So I think it's very important to be attuned to opportunity, and as a result of seeing an opportunity in front of your eyes, you know that that's a fleeting thing. And if you don't go for it, it can easily evaporate.
That's great insight.
A business application around folks really be attuned to identifying opportunity.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and maybe more than that. If I think about what holds salespeople back, it's that the willingness to pick up the phone, to take action, to do that thing that will make something happen. And it's a great story for, if you like, giving people permission. Okay, I could do that.
Yeah, and so don't be overly reliant on process.
That's it.
Process
it's
is
not
important,
about process,
but you need...
but take action and get in and do it.
Yeah, you're going to take a risk, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the risk was that I went and nothing happened. And, but you have to accept, you have to balance risk off against reward. Put yourself at risk of getting the deal. If you don't do it, you've got no chance.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be good if large corporates could, I was thinking of my experience at IBM. And I was just imagining a sales guy sitting on the phone going, yeah, it's an opportunity. I'm going to Los Angeles. And then trying to get that expense approved.
And that reminds me of Monty Python sketch. I spent 4 months in Brazil on a hunch.
Yeah, right.
I think another thing as well is in terms of constraints and the words, it's not possible. That comes up in a lot of contexts, whether it's sales or leadership or what's possible. But that proves with a little bit of creativity and willingness to do it, you can broaden what's possible. And even for people that have kind of a critical thinking, I'd be sitting on the plane personally thinking, what if he changes the time and says, sorry, I can't make it, but no problem. You were coming anyway.
Of course, that's a risk. It's another risk.
But look, yeah, it's what is possible.
Yeah, it's so true. And I was thinking too, like if you did it the other way, where you sort of said to the person on the phone, well, I haven't got a plan, but I really will. I'll just book a ticket and come and see you. They'll say, oh no, I don't want to put you out.
Absolutely,
that's way too far. It's a crazy idea. You'd be just sort of taken out. So you got to be a bit more inventive.
Yeah.
Cool. Any others? Any other thoughts, comments? Because we'll go to a story rating if not. What do you reckon? Story rating?
Yep.
Mike, what would you give this? In terms of tellability, in terms of impact.
I'm going to use this story. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Excellent.
Yeah, I will regularly use this story, talking to our partners all the time, helping them improve their businesses, and I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Similarly, I'm going to give it an extra half, so 8.5, just
for
your bravery and for your willingness to do it.
I was thinking of 3 out of 10. I was thinking, no, I actually had 8 in my mind as well. So yeah, that's a great story, really reusable, really, one to put in, you get back. Now, you might not actually tell it exactly like, you might find your own version of it.
Absolutely.
If you could do that, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. Well, is there anything else we need to cover for this episode, our 50th episode?
Well, maybe on our 50th episode, highlighting our branding, that we've changed our branding and we're now thinking story-powered communication. Anecdote, story-powered communication. So, folks, you'll be seeing that in addition to our new products, etc., look out for the messaging around story-powered communication.
Go and check out, well, I won't say your website yet, it hasn't been updated, but there'll be some things in there, yeah. Fantastic. Right, yeah, well, thanks again for listening to Anecdotally Speaking. It's been great to have you along on this ride for our 50 episodes. I realise as I'm wrapping up, there is one thing I wanted to say, that we're going to get our partners to be part of our podcast, right? Because this is what it does. Like just at our podcast, our partner conference, have people there from Korea, Malaysia, India,
Israel,
Indonesia,
all the eyes.
Yeah, all the eyes. But it's this phenomenal network. We're in 20 odd countries, 24, 25 countries. So there's a lot of interesting perspective, types of stories, and we'll get them on our podcast, and you'll hear them tell a story from their perspective that you'll be able to retell. I think you'll learn so much from it, and we're really looking forward to it. So anyway, well, thanks for listening for Anecdotally Speaking, and tune in next time. You'll hear more stories. You can actually put stories to work. See you soon.